Hey guys, it's Al from Altruistic Channel, and I just wanted to touch base. I'm still working on the new stuff for the Altruistic Channel on YouTube, and it's kind of late. It's almost morning at this point, but I tend to work late at night, and so I wanted to just kind of touch base on something that I kind of had been asked about earlier, which is what the hell is a perceptions and communication strategist? Essentially what it is that I am an INTJ personality, and throughout my 20-year career, I've done everything from training to client services to hospitality to nonprofit work, fundraising, and it's all been very interesting and very lucrative, but very self-indulgent. But as part of the process, I decided that I was going to start doing something more in line with training, because I really love training. It was my favorite thing. I worked for, Planned Parenthood and like different organizations and, controversial things and then not so controversial. And I just thought it would be great to kind of get back to what my original idea was, which is I want to eventually build a school or reform the school systems to such a degree that we are able to kind of educate or continue education for adults without having to pay like extreme prices. Some of us don't need to be taught how to be a training manager. We're going to work our way up and we'll get there. But I don't want to spend that money. I want to do stuff that's like philosophical, or I want to engage conversations that are uncomfortable. I want to do debate and kind of hone skills that are a little bit not as Ivy League, if you will, but still practical and still things of interest for adults. I want to learn a new language with people like me who aren't necessarily invested in spending a lot of money to do it. I just kind of want to know like Rosetta Stone, but a notch up. And so I find that some of the best things to do is to lead by example. So even though I was eating a burger before this. But sometimes like the best thing to do is lead by example. And so I wanted to just kind of start out by being a trainer again. And specifically, I wanted to help leaders. And so I thought, well, what better way than to go to mid-management and above and offer this, my gift, which is the ability to strategize. And one of the things that breaks down strategy is your ability to look at things from all sides. And so that's where the idea came from. And so basically what a perception and communication strategist is someone who actually teaches other people how to sit in space and look at something they thought they knew, and then expose them to the varying different things that they may not have considered, and then assess with them whether they were the right to only look at it from one vision, or if they are now capable of looking at it from other visions, and then develop that skill set. So as they look at like the markets and so forth and old issues or what they think they know, and they look at it through new eyes, because I find that a lot of answers are usually in exposing yourself to something different. And the idea behind it is basically simple. It is possible for two people with opposing views to be right. It happens all the time because it's based on perspective, which is subjective. And so that subjectivity is something that you think you know, but it's so isolatory and it's so narrow-minded that I think a lot of people get lost in just believing that their reality is real. The problem is that it's not. Everybody's reality is real to them and maybe their immediate family, and as far as everything else is, no two brains process the same information in the same way. And so I wanted to kind of educate the intellectuals and people who have gotten to a point where they're in a rut, or they're at a particular point in their career where they're starting to find that it's a little bit too hard to predict consumerism. Well, it's really not. So maybe it's time to kind of expand your minds. And especially I want to help bosses and executives who know that they maybe are a little rusty and they want to expose themselves to the idea that they can learn something new, an old dog learning a new trick, because you can. And so that's what I want to do. And I want to engage those leaders of tomorrow with the idea that you are your own strategist. You don't need to spend millions of dollars finding me. I mean, it's great. I feel flattered, but it's not like it's an honor to be an INTJ personality or a strategist. I mean, you isolate yourself quite a bit in that role, especially if you have it for a lifetime where you can't get out of it like me. It's hard to, unless you're a lawyer, it's really hard to defend somebody that did something wrong, even though you know why they did it. You still have to sit in there and you understand things and you see the patterns and you see things that unveil kind of darker secrets behind society, if you will, or things that maybe we shouldn't be forgiving of, but we are. And so when you sit in that space for a while and you grow up with it, you aren't necessarily the most popular person, because you will stand up against anybody for any reason that you feel is just. And being in that space is great as a leader, but not so great when you're growing up. But it doesn't mean that you can't gain those skills later in life. And that's what I mean by continued education. So that's what I'm doing. And then I'm going, I'll go around and lecture and or not lecture, but like I speak, and like keynote speaking stuff is really great to me. I love public speaking. I think it's great. I love to engage people. I love the idea behind the eyes lighting up and, oh, there's an epiphany, and they get something. But in order to do that, you have to kind of start. And instead of waiting around for it, I decided to just go ahead and do it. And that's where I'm at. So with the LLC launch, which is the Altruistic Channel LLC, that's basically what it is. It's a consulting firm. It's built into a tier system, 4 tiers. The first one is for mid-management. Basically an executive or an owner or a CEO that wants their team to kind of reinvent the wheel. And there's something going on that's kind of stopping them, and they feel like they're stuck. But he doesn't want to get rid of his staff because these are key people, usually about a team of 5 and like 5 to 12 people that he absolutely just wants to have on the team no matter what. And the best thing to do in his mind is to just hone their skill sets, and let's see if we can do something with this before any major decisions are made. And it's a great thing for realigning your company goals and mission. Sometimes you say you want to realign something, but in truth, you are actually where you need to be. You just need to change a little verbiage. Because it's very costly to change your motto or something that's already been kind of put out there for years, because people have branded you with that. And so sometimes just looking at it through a new pair of eyes is really helpful. And so the next year would be more like literally like a 3-class system where you get introduced to perception, what it is psychologically speaking, and then the second is you actually dive deep into different cognitive skill tests and so forth like that, and really get into the nitty-gritty as to what makes you you and why you see the world the way you see it. And the third class is literally more advanced. It would be the end result, which would be you would then be responsible for the XYZ experiment, so to speak, and you would have to justify why you did the perspective, and then you have to present it against yourself as well, almost like a debate against yourself, only so that you can understand the full realm of what that is. And those perspective trainings are really effective because it crosses everything. For example, it's really important for someone in HR to understand perspective, because when they go to an issue or an issue arises where someone alleges one thing against the other person, motivation is a factor. And if you don't understand the concept behind the perception of what that could be, then you're going to run into this problem where you can't really be the most effective person. And so that's kind of one of the, sorry, somebody just texted me. But that's one of the things that you want to learn. And so these advanced trainings are just really effective for them. It'll help people get back on track, if you will. And it helps them align themselves with the actual goal. Because sometimes you forget when you're stuck in something, or you've been exposed to so much crap that you're like, oh, I forgot. The next tier would be the third tier, and that's really, I think, probably a little bit more expensive, because that's going to be one-on-one. That's for people who want to be just want to experience it throughout all things, because it's not, in business, it's like HR, but it's also advertising. Like, people react, their perception is based on colors and on schematics, and certain shapes they like, certain shapes they don't like. And so understanding the psychology is very effective in business. In a personal matter, moms and dads want to expose themselves to different perspectives, because they're going to be raising children. And when you're raising a child, especially with an INTJ personality, or when you start to really get into what it is for us to think and the way we think, you want to have that availability to you. And then last but not least, it would be kind of more aligned with the keynote speaking and like guest lecturing stuff, and then I just travel around. Part of my big thing is I want to travel. I've always been kind of the type that everything that I do, I did from the grassroots up. Even though, like I've said before, I could have gone from training manager to client service manager. I could have done a lateral move, but I didn't, because I have to be able to do everything in that position that I'm asking anybody else to do. And that includes fucking scrubbing toilets if I have to. That's what a leader does, right? So you do everything and you earn your way there. And so with this, I wanted to do the same thing, but I've been doing it so long that I get stuck. And I don't travel, and I don't do anything. I don't ever take vacation. And so this is a way for me to get around and to meet more people and to network and kind of get more perspective on what they're doing in business and how that aligns with the collective consciousness and all of that stuff. And it's just a better way for everyone to kind of grow. And so that's kind of where everything is at the point. So that's what a perceptions communication strategist does. I am effectively going around and helping people become strategists and using perception as a means to better communicate. I mean, that's essentially what it is. So I just wanted to drop by and say that. Drop by. What's my channel? But whatever. I'm going to go back to eating my food because it was really good. But that's it. So I'm going to go back to finishing up the initial part of the introduction. I'm doing like a slideshow or a share on PowerPoint, which kind of introduces the concept. and then really quickly goes right into what perception is and how it relates to everybody. So that'll be coming up probably today at some point on Altruistic Channel. As you guys know, the LLC is up and going, so you can always find out more. Just go ahead and subscribe if you want to subscribe, because I'll be putting a lot more information about this on there, and I'll be putting like exercises and fun little things that we can do. I mean, you know, I'm also going to do a reputation thing, which is based on perception. What is the perception in the executive level of who you are professionally and who you are in your personal life? And that's always kind of a jarring exercise for a lot of people. So I don't know exactly where I'm going to place it, but it's really effective in getting people to understand that perception is key to all things. And your success can sometimes be heavily reliant on how people see you. Anyway, that's what I'm working on. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Sorry, gassing. And as I always say, have you made a mistake today? You cannot lead without having fallen. All right, bye. What the fuck?